This is the new 2022 GMC Acadia, and this is a new version of a ultra popular 3-row GMC. It's about the same size as a Chevy Traverse or a Ford Explorer or a Toyota Highlander or a Kia Telluride, and it's on the sportier side of other GMC models, and today I'm going to review it and explain why. Before I get started, be sure to check out Cars and Sports, which is my new online enthusiast car auction website for cool cars from the modern era. We've had some great sales recently on Cars and Sports, including this Ram 1500 sold for just under $41,000. This fantastic F-Ford 50, which sold for just under $24,000, and this wonderful old school Chevy Silverado. If you're looking to sell or buy a cool car, this is the place to go. We have a great selection with daily auctions at carsandsports.com. So let's talk Acadia. The Acadia first came out a few years ago, and back then it was sort of like a Pathfinder with GMC badging. And there's going to be two Acadia similar cars, one called the Terrian, which it's kind of hard to pronounce for me, and the Acadia. This is an Acadia model, and it starts around $35,000 with shipping. GMC can offer two engines in these. You can choose between a 2.4-liter four-cylinder with about 220 horsepower or a 3.6-liter V6 with about 310 horsepower. This one has the V6, and it also has a sticker price of around $45,000 because it's a top trim model. If you're looking for the Terrian, it's hard for me to pronounce it. I might not be pronouncing it right. That is coming a little while on. So this is the regular GMC Acadia, and the smaller it's hard to pronounce Terrian for being sold. And now it's time to check it out. First, I'm going to show you all the features of the Acadia. Then I'm going to get it on the road and see how it drives, and then I'm going to give it a Jaffe score. Alright, I'm going to start the features of the Acadia by starting in the interior. Now, in the interior, it's kind of a mishmash between really nice things and other things. For example, the steering wheel, you can see here, the steering wheel has this nice looking. The steering wheel has this trimming around it, and also it says here there's an icon that lets you drop the third row headrest, and it actually begins to drop. That's pretty interesting. And some other wild things is that right here on the steering wheel, and that will shoot supports out into the trunk. So if there's an accident and you need to open the trunk, you can get it there. But it is worth noting, like, it looks really nice. And for example, there's this nice wood trim there's this nice wood trim on the dashboard, and on the passenger side you have this leather and stitching. And finally, move on to the third row access in the Acadia. And it's worth noting that, for example, sometimes it's easy. It's a little difficult to see how to access it, and the Acadia does it well. Now, for example, you can see this black thing. You push it, and then the seat will slide forward, clearing up an easy path to the third row. The third row looks pretty nice. And for the second row, you get these nice looking GMC leather pillows, which is nice looking. And in case you're not sure what this car is, this Acadia, you can, for example, this Acadia has second row captain's chairs. Unfortunately, the headrests were pulled out at the GMC dealer where this Acadia came from, which is unfortunate. And I don't know if they took it out for some reason, and next up, we move on to the third row. The third row itself, you can see the third row has more of this nice leather, which looks pretty nice. Two-toned with a lot of things, and I like it. It seems pretty nice, and GMC makes a really top trim model. The Denali brand is a luxury thing for GMC. And in some of my older reviews of the Chevys, they've been high country Chevys. High country is Chevy's version of Denali, but this is Denali, which is the GMC type thing. They make the Terran Denali, the Acadia Denali, the Yukon Denali, and the other things like this is a mid-size SUV. It's not that big of an SUV. It's not a Chevy Tahoe, Ford Expedition. It's a little smaller, and it has a relatively usable third row. And you notice back here, you find these pockets, and you can stick whatever types of things you want in here, and that's pretty nice. And just like the interior that I mentioned with the leather and the wood trim, it had better be. Like I mentioned, this is the top trim model with a sticker price of around $48,000. Base level Acadias won't have this interior, but even for $48,000, let me tell you, I really think that this is a pretty nice interior, and I'm impressed with it, and a lot of GMCs don't have interior like that, but this Acadia has it. And like I mentioned, other Acadias won't, but this one does. And so next we move on to the cargo area in the Acadia, and it goes up automatically, but you notice here you don't really get super good cargo room back here, unfortunately. And you get 14 cubic feet. That's not very much, but it's a okay amount. But they could do. And next we move on to the under the hood in the Acadia, and it doesn't appear to be all that heavy. And this engine is a 3.6 liter V6. At the end of the day, they might add a little more power to this engine. But there isn't a V8 version. It's just the 4-cylinder and the V6. That's and the front and the back look pretty nice. That looks a lot like the Kia Sorento, you know, that's kind of interesting. Why would you the Sorento has lines on it, one light bar and then 3 lines, and it's the same here, and this just has the bars, and so those are the features of the Acadia. Now it's time to get it out on the road, see how it drives. Alright, driving the GMC Acadia. This is you're not sitting up very high. You're sitting up a few inches, but you sit not very high, not like a Silverado and F450. You can just see you can see it. It's really nice. And at the end of the day, they might add more power to this engine. I'm not sure. But you're not really getting that much sound. That's another thing that I think is a little interesting. All right, now you're looking at this hood that looks a little muscular, but not very bad. And all right, here goes. I'm really gonna floor it now. Yeah, it's not that bad, but there was a little bit of noise there since this has the 3.6 liter V6. The same in the Traverse, and that's just a thing that a lot of things, you will know. And so those are the features of the GMC Acadia. Now it's time to give it a Jaffe score. Starting with the weekend category and the styling, the Acadia's comfort is good and gets a 4 out of 10. Driving experience is good and gets a 6 out of 10. And places it, and this places, and in the Jaffe score, this is how far it's placed. 61 out of 100 for the GMC Acadia 2022.